Alright, let's see if this works. Hey guys. I try to add my chat to this, but I don't think it's working out. Let me see. Yeah, I don't think the chat's working. I did a pop out of the chat, but unfortunately it's not working. Let's try it one more time. There we go. Maybe that worked. What's up, Stoke? There's a lot of new names I don't know. I can't use Streamlabs, unfortunately. They don't support Mac OS, unfortunately. But I found the weird shortcut to use it. Let me just fix it up live. Shouldn't be doing this live, but I'm going to fix it really quickly. There we go. Much better. This way I don't have to move around. I can at least see you guys all while you talk. Ironing t-shirts. Thank you for the sub. Where's my music? Should we keep on playing the same music? Alright, there we go.
If you
After this ad. Hey there, Durfit TV, Gotham, and Goatsec. How's it going, all? So, Franz is going to join me in an hour, about. And I want to get better with Amass. So while we wait for Franz, let's play with Amass a little bit and see where it goes. Yeah, Sundays are always going to be about Recon. Just because that's how I started Sundays, and I want to keep the format the same. I did announce the new days I'm going to do. So Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sundays are going to be my schedule from now on. If you scroll down into my bio down below, under my stream, it shows my schedule now. So yeah, let's do some Amass. I barely use Amass, and I hear a lot of people having good fun with it. So while I wake up, and while Fran still gets ready to join, we'll play with Amass, and then I want to try some other new Recon tools that are not mine. I want to see what other people use for Recon. And yeah, let's use theirs and see how it goes. What do you guys think? How does that sound? Amass, and then also in the chat, send me some of your favorite Recon tools. I thought about NockPy, but iffy. So tell me what are the tools you guys like. Maybe we can use them. Also, shout outs to Bitcode if it's here. Drop me a line. Tell me if you're here. I don't like to use Burp right now. I don't have Burp set up on this machine. I'm probably not going to use Burp. I should probably use Burp, but maybe next time I'll install it. Mascan. We did Mascan the other week, so I'm doing Mascan and Nmap on Tuesdays. Let me see. Sorry, on Saturdays when I play video games, I'm gonna do mass scanning while I play video games. So, what is this Findomain that you sent me? Let's see. Ooh, okay. Okay, let's try this out next. Who was this that you sent me that? Sudi Stark. I hope I said your name right. We'll do Findomain for sure. Let's give it a try. And Mass DNS. I have to install Mass DNS, so maybe next time. Maybe if I get to install it today, then we'll figure it out. I don't use Zap. I use Burp. It's just easier to use Burp. So let me switch my screen to live. There we go. And then let's move these screens over here. Alright. Cool. How do I sound, by the way? Ooh, Asset Finder by Tom Nom Nom. Yeah, I can do that. Let's do... So I'm going to open these tabs up. And then we will use both of these tools. Music's not too loud. Thank you, InfoSec Batman. I like your name. I mean, if you haven't seen my obsession with Batman, let me show you real quick. This is my entire wall. There's Batman, there's Batman, there's Batman, and there's Batman. I have another one downstairs I gotta put up. My buddy just got it to me a couple days ago. Grenade Blade. Okay, that's just a tool I wrote myself. You can. I'm gonna open it up and see what it looks like, and I may or may not use it. No promises. But you're welcome to suggest whatever tool you like. Hey, Furious. Alright, so let's see if I have Amass on here. By the way, I'm a complete Amass noob, in case you didn't know. So let's just pull up the Amass docs on GitHub. Let's see what it looks like. There's some really cool blog posts on it. Let's see what this Recon... This is Sahil's, I think. Well, that's Noob Hacks. Let's see what this is. Let's see how they did it. So, mass scan, source IP domain. If for some reason the value remaining name keeps increasing into the millions and never stops, then you should play around with active, brood, no alt. Okay. Parsing the data. Okay. So what? I do... What does the IP do? There's a user guide on here, I remember correctly. So I know you can feed it root subdomains. What I was thinking was maybe we can give it some of the subdomains we found on Crt.sh, and then based on that we can enumerate some other subdomains. Let's see what IP does really quick. So IP shows the IP address for discovered domains. Okay, cool. Let's see. Let's push this down a little bit. There we go. Whoa, how did this happen? How did this even happen? Are you guys hacking me? Is that what's happening? There we go. Sorry about that. I don't know how this happened. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my Recon data down here that we did. And we'll stick to yahoo.com for now. And then... So let's start with media and see, because media is a big domain on Yahoo. There's a lot of stuff on there. So we'll do Amass, we'll give it source, IP, and I want to look at active. I think active is resolves them, if I'm right. Let's see. So active means, oh, okay, it gives you subdomain. You can do brute for, you can do port scan. So we'll just do. I think 4443 is a really good one on Yahoo. Let's see. Not define source. Do I have to do enum before it? Let's see. So let's do enumerate source IP active media. Nope. And that should be -D in here. And I need a -P, don't I? For the ports? Yeah, okay. chat. There we go. This should do something, right? It's not giving me any results so far, but while that's going on, let's look at the other options. There was an option about giving it files. So if I give it the root domains here, yeah, if I give it root domains, it should be able to give us some stuff, right? Let's see what they have for enum right here. So if you do active, okay. You can also give it a word list for alterations. I want to try this one. Let's see if anyone's done this in any blog post. Let's do bug bounty. No results. Alright, we'll give this a try. I want to see what this does. I want to see what this alteration is. I assume the alterations is for different permutations, but who knows? We'll have to figure that out. I had someone send me a script the other day for Recon, but I can't find out who it was. Let's see. So we don't want to do blacklist. I don't want to do brute forcing because that takes forever. The D is the one that we need. Yeah, I think the DF is our best bet. But I want to see if this works. Is it a verbose so I can see the errors? Is it a log? Let's see. Nope. Is it config file with config away? Yeah. That's very true. I have to figure out the config and then figure it out, save it, and keep using it. Wow, look at you guys. I didn't see any of this. So should I do passive enum? Alright, let's start with the passive one. This one's taking forever. So let's do passive. But I do want to do the active flag with the port scanning. And I do want the IP. But what was source again? Source is print data, sources for discovered names. Okay, let's try that too. So let's try this out. IP is can be okay. Let's see. Does that work? Why? Okay, that works. I guess we don't do active. I'm behind on chat. Give me a sec, chat. So I'm gonna try Serwa's syntax. I like the output that he gave me around money. We'll try that next. So we'll try these out for now. Does it always take this long for Amass to respond, or is it immediate? This is why I don't like using tools outside of Crt.sh. It's just so much faster to pull data that way. Alright, we'll leave this alone. I'm gonna install this first. No, I like to. Let's try TomNomNom's tool first. So let's install it. You stay here actually. Alright, let's install this. I should have probably done it in my work, but there we go. Okay. Did it work? It did work, alright. So we do subs only. Oh wow, it hits Facebook as well. That's cool. Should we do... What does subs only do? Doesn't say anything. Let's see what it does when you do asset finder subs only include subdomains of search domains. No. Let's do media.yahoo.com. Ooh, not bad, not bad. That's it? Oh, that's a lot of numbers. Let's see how many that is. 437. Let's see how many we can get to pro. So it also looks like it's giving us some really good data. A lot of these sites seem to be up, but what I don't like is that I wanted media, but it's giving me a lot of garbage that's not in media. So I assume that's because it's hitting every single domain that's inside of those, inside the cert. Fierce, yes, I've done that before. Ah, okay, that makes. Oh, Tom is here himself. Well, thanks for joining. So let's try the same thing with the subs only. Like this, right? Oh, it's 2 dashes? Yeah, okay. Alright, that's much better. So not a whole lot of domains, which is okay. I didn't expect a whole lot, but one sec. Let me get a picture of this for Instagram so more people would join. So it looks like media didn't find anything, but if I hit cert.sh media.yahoo.com, I want to see what that gets me for HTTP Pro. It should give us a lot of results. What is that? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 maybe? So there is some, oh, I've never seen that. What I want to do today also is, besides doing just subdomain discovery, I want to hit some of these and see what we find on them. Okay, so Tom's tool didn't find much on media, but maybe we'll hit Yahoo with it and see what it finds. Thank you for hosting. Akshash. I think I said your name wrong, but... What do you mean, what's up with the sound? Do I not sound okay? It looks like my sound's working properly here. Okay, so let's see where this is going. So not much here. Amass is still doing something. Not liking this. It's taking way too long. Let's be more specific with Yahoo. Instead of doing Yahoo, let's do media.yahoo.com, because that could take a while. There's a slight hiss. Let me move my mic over here. It can't be my mic, is that better? It could be my my fans going crazy. Let me know if this helped with the sound. Yeah, it should be my computer fans. Wow, it was that loud, huh? Yeah, I'm waiting for my. So actually, Donut's not gonna be here today, but Donut helped me with new PC. Hopefully next week he'll be here, so I have a better rig. What's max DNS queries? What does that do? So Amass Uplister Asset Finder. Oh, this is Asset Finder a bit by Tom's. Very high for Amass. So if we'll do Findomain. Let me install Findomain. How do you install this thing? cargo installed, do I? Nope. So let's do, let's install cargo. Alright, let's install this. Who won the person up? Actually, I didn't give away the Pentester Lab yet. A lot of the memes were, every single reply was around a shell. Nobody really gave something funny. There was someone that replied with, when you shoot your shot and it works. That was the funniest one. Everybody else said the same thing about shells. It didn't turn out the way I thought it would. Alright, this is almost done. I need to install Rust, so install Rust on Ubuntu. Hopefully that won't break anything, but let's try it out. I think Donut would be very happy if he saw me installing Rust. Blah blah blah, nope. Alright, let's see. Oh, I do have Rust installed, and it looks like. Maybe that was a part of cargo? Let's see. Alright, so let's go to, we are in Findomain. Let's see if this worked. Wait, hold on. I gotta do cargo first. Okay, looks like it's there. Everyone keeps saying Andre's name. Is Andre in here? Did I miss him? Andre, are you in here? Oh, he is in here. What's up, Andre? How's it going, dude? Fancy seeing you in here. Alright, once this is done, we're going to try it, because Amass is just taking forever, and I'm not having it. Yeah, this thing is just, it's not a fun one. Alright, who else has a tool I should try? We installed this already. Asset Finder is going to be used in a sec once this is done. I feel like I should just, let's see Asset Finder a little bit more. Let's see what the corporate domain finds while this installs. And I should probably do the subs only. Here, let's do subs only. Nice. Let's also probe. Oops. There we go. Let's probe this and see how it goes. Just make it all terminals in the screen to make it easier. There we go. Russ is almost done installing this tool, so we'll leave it alone. Let's see, subroot. Yeah, that's a good one. I used to use subroot a lot back in the day. It just hasn't been as good as it used to be. But I'm down to try it out again. That's a big maybe. We'll see. Alt DNS. We did Alt DNS last week. Didn't we? Yeah, we did Alt DNS last week. I don't play CTFs, but I'm going to be doing something on Tuesdays around CTFs. I'm going to be doing Hacker 101 and Hack the Box and the Bug Bounty Note challenges on Tuesdays. If you'd like to see my schedule, let me see if I can find. This is the schedule that I have now. It's also in my. It's below the stream if you look at it. Yeah, maybe we'll do the. I've been thinking about the Crt.sh database before. Maybe we should try that next. Okay, so this isn't working out like I wanted it to. I have 30 more minutes before fans join. So I want to find some cool domains right here. Maybe billing would be a good one. I'm just surprised this isn't giving us anything at all. I don't think these domains have a whole lot for it to take that long. When I was using it last night, it was working fine, but not sure what's going on now. What's cc.py? Extracting URLs. Interesting. Okay. So it calls all pages and then list available index. Okay, we'll keep that on for now. Maybe we'll give it a try. This whole Amass thing. Let's see what other people have done with Amass and bug bounties. Maybe we're doing it wrong. Let's try Amass bug bounty recon. Look at all these different blog posts about methodologies. Let's try it out. Okay. Because this is when I tried Amass last time, it didn't take this long. It could be because of the syntax we're doing. So different tools. I think Amass is in use in here. Whose article is this? Alright, there's no Amass in here. Amass, JSON out. That's it. Alright, maybe we can do GoBuster then, because GoBuster seems to be a fun one too. What do you guys think? What does everyone think? Should we ditch Amass? Or should we just go down this rabbit hole? GoBuster. Amass passive isn't good. Try active and put specify API keys. See, I don't want to burn my API keys on certain others. So just do alright, let's get rid of passive. We'll do active and let's see what this does. Try to use one of the changelogs from Amass. Let's see what this is. Let me use one of the changelogs. I think I'm between the two of these that are struggling, I think. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kill cargo. If there is anything for cargo, yep. I'm gonna have cargo do its release. I'm gonna leave Amass alone, so this could be done. And then once Franz is gone, we're gonna come back to Amass. But right now I'm gonna look at Tom's tool and see what we find. Let's see. Oops. Let's sort these also. There we go. So let's hit a couple of these domains and see what Tom's tool can find. Hopefully by then this is done. It could be also that this is hogging a lot of my resources and Amass is struggling because of it. I want to look at some APIs. Let's see what we have APIs for. Grep API. Not a whole lot of APIs. I think I'm missing some stuff. Let's do, where is it? I'm gonna hit sports.yahoo.com and see what that finds, and then, oh, it's probing already. There we go. Cool. Yeah, all that TXT file that I have that has Yahoo stuff is usually on my GitHub. So if you go to GitHub, you can see it. All the links you need is down below in my chat, under my stream. So if you need any of the tools that I use, they're all here. It's under the stream. Just scroll down. There is all my stuff. The videos that I post, my social media, $50 of free credit. You can donate. You can also use Discord to join. Alright, so let's see. API global. I want to try and focus on just doing actual recon outside of just subdomain brute forcing. So let's start one by one going through all this. Usually do HTML and JSON just to see what I find, and then based on that, if I find some interesting folders, I'll change the extension. But this is my quick scan, just HTML and JSON, see where it goes. Okay. I don't think there's gonna be much on here, but while it does that, let's keep looking. SP admin, that looks juicy. Alright, let's see what SP admin has. So there's no, oh, there's an SSL error on there. And I don't think we're gonna be able to curl to it anyways, but let's try it out anyways. Alright. We'll leave that alone. This one, let's see what it has on, with SSL cert on it. Okay, same thing. Sometimes Yahoo has different results for 80 and 443, so I check both. So I'll leave it alone for now. Let's see what else is on here. Stage admin, can we access that actually? I don't think it will let us, but let's try it out. No. Once this is done, I'm gonna hit this domain and see if we can find anything on it. And then we'll keep on hitting it. Let's see what I find on this particular domain. Let's try another one. What's a big domain on yahoo.com? News? What do you guys think? Should we hit another domain, sport instead of sports? Should we hit mail, Yahoo Mail, and see what APIs we find? Alright, let's do mail. We'll do media next, you're right. Whoever said media, that's a good idea. And then we'll hit news. Mail's gonna be very long, I feel like, but we'll see. Alright, not a whole lot here, so let's keep on, whoops. There we go. This is almost done. Hey, just so you know, Champsphere, I usually don't care people sharing their tools, but I don't want that to become a habit on the stream. So keep that in mind next time, please. I think my category changed when I was on my phone. Because if you missed it last week, my computer failed on me, and yeah, I had to get on my phone, so I think it kicked me out. But I don't think I can change it right now during the stream, so I'll change it next time. Alright, mail is going to be going for a while. There's only mail.yahoo.com so far with Asset Finder. Alright, so we installed, I think we installed the Subdomain Finder. Let's see. Subfinder, is that what it was called? Findomain, sorry. Let's see, Findomain. So we installed it with cargo. I could have done it easier like that, but too late. Alright, so let's see if this worked. Alright, this works. So let's do all APIs. Let's get the IP address just in case. I don't want to set an input file. Let's put an output for yahoo.com, media.yahoo.com. And then we'll do the target as media.yahoo.com. And that failed. For output, oh, I have to give it a format. Okay, I'm gonna do text. Okay. So the first two are easy to do. Don't really care about. Let's see. All right. Let's find some really cool stuff right off the bat. Okay, this might be a pretty good place to start. Some really good subdomains. Where did it save my file? Is it in Target? No, it's not in Target. Oh, it's right there. Okay. Let's see how it saves it. Maybe we should do JSON, so at least it's easier to parse it later on. I'm gonna not do the IP address anymore. Let's see. And the reason why is I want to make it easily loopable, so we can loop on top of this and start getting files and so on. So let's see, cat media. Let's do 82. Right. Okay, this is what I want. Perfect. Now we're gonna remove all of this. And we're going to move this to, okay, we're going to do it one more time. Once this is done, we're going to finish this, open up the file, probe it, and once we probe, we'll see what we find. Because this is still going on mail. Whoa, look at that. That's a lot of domains. I like this tool, not bad. Give me some stuff I've never seen. Let's see what these are. Should we screenshot? Or should we skip screenshotting? Let's see what this looks like. Ooh, okay. So usually these error pages on Yahoo indicates there's something on them versus the other one that we're looking at. I'm gonna cancel this and whoops. Let's see what we find on here. If you don't know what CRX is, you should look at Francis' talk on it. He did a very good talk on Adobe AEM CRX is the endpoint for it. I'm gonna add the concurrency in a sec just because I'm running 3 different tools on this. I want to make sure I'm not hogging too much. Oh, there we go. This is nice. Okay. The one thing we didn't try, and it's there. Cool. So it looks like we have the. Maybe I shouldn't touch this. Hey, whoever has a Twitch subscription with me, can you hit that bounty, please? Emote. There should be an emote for bounty, please. Let me see if I can give somebody a sub real quick. Let's see. Alright, let's give Stoke a present. I don't know how to do it, but it's not letting me. It's not letting me. It's not letting me gift it to him. It's not meant to be. Well, there we go. Well, didn't work. I'm gonna have to do it offline because it's slowing down my browser. If you do have it, just hit bounty, please. There should be an emote for it. I want to see what it looks like. So it looks like some of these don't have to. You don't have to be auth to it. Unauthorized. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So it looks like this is a good place to start fuzzing these. I don't know if I want to do that live, just because I feel like this could potentially have some vulnerabilities. But this is pretty much giving us almost everything under API. So almost every API route we want is here, and it's giving us some data. This is probably public data based on the fact that it's called lobby. But there goes to show, if you see a error like this, always brute force. So, not a bad subdomain to check. Okay, let's pick and roll. Let's try pick and roll now. Oh, there's also Swagger on here. Let's see what the Swagger has, because the Swagger could have different stuff on it. But it looks like it's the same stuff. Yeah, it has the same admin stuff. Admin slate, admin future flag, admin slate. Okay. Pretty much the same thing. Let's see what status HTML is. Probably just a one-line status. Yeah, okay. Alright, we'll leave this one alone. Let's see if this finds anything on here. Let me try it again, Stoke. I think it's something on my end that's not letting me do it. Yeah, it's not letting me do it for some reason. It's not letting me gift it to you particularly. It says it's not available for your user. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a random gift if my screen doesn't stop freezing. Yeah, I'm gonna stop doing that because it's freezing my entire screen. But I think it's because something with your user. Fierce, what makes you think that's vulnerable? I think you need to ask yourself that question. Why is that vulnerable? I mean, it could be vulnerable if you see the a preview of it before you go to. If you see the preview before you go to the login, then you can probably pull some. You should pull the JavaScript files in there if you have access, and see if you can hit some of those APIs and pages unauthenticated. Try that. Stoke has a tier 1 sub already. That makes sense. Stoke, try and see if you can hit the. Try and see if you can hit the bounty, please. Let me know if that works. Okay. So, I've seen some of these before, so I'm not going to spend too much time on them. I played with them a little bit not too long ago. So this goes to, when you hit this, it goes to V1 test console. I wonder what's on here. I'm going to hit this first, and then we'll hit V1. This isn't giving me much in here. Outside of status and rotation. I've seen rotation a lot on Yahoo. I don't know what it does really. There was no swag or anything like that, so we are going to find something today. I can feel it. Maybe Franz Rosen's gonna give us some good luck. Alright, not much on here. I'm gonna cancel in 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so this one, this domain actually hits the V1 API thing right off the bat, so it makes me think there is something on here, especially when it goes to. So when you hit this, it goes to V1 console, but there's nothing on test. But anything you put out here, it does the same thing. So I'm starting to think there's nothing on here really. Is that emote not working? Is that what's happening? It should be Naham sec and then like bounty please. I posted for the tier 1 earlier today. Let me just make sure. I'm doing that right now while these scans are going on. I'm super new to doing streams on here, so a lot of the stuff on Twitch is all new to me. I didn't even think I'm gonna get this far on Twitch. Oh, it looks like my emote's pending. That's why it's not working. Bummer. If you guys want to see what it looks like, let me see if I can find it. Here's what it looks like. I gotta open up my email. Ooh, okay, it's finding some stuff on here. Let's see, where are my emotes? So I can show you guys what they look like. 1 second. My computer's being really, really slow today for some reason. There we go. So this is what it looks like. But it's pending review by Amazon or Twitch. So that was the emote that I got. Big thank you to Bitcode. I don't know if he's in here. So once Amazon or Twitch verify it, then we can use it next week, hopefully, or Tuesday. Alright, so not a whole lot on this one. Let's do something else. Let's probe on, well, let's enum on sports, or let's do corp. Let's do what corp founds. Maybe something on corporate would be fine. I'm really interested in seeing what it finds, because it's finding some subdomains that we missed last time. So, let's give it some time. Okay, it's doing its thing. Sublister. Okay, now let's do, hold on, let's do a probe really quick. What was the, he said do additional probe, okay. Timeout, output, skip default, concurrency. So I'm gonna open up this corporate file, and I'm gonna do, let's give it 50. Ooh, nice. Never seen that one. Let's see what it looks like. Ooh, okay. Oh, it's Jive. Never mind. I thought it was self-hosted, but kind of useless. This probably won't load either, but let's try it out. Yeah, it redirects you to Ryzen builders. Yeah. So. I wonder if I could hit it with, if I give it a... Oh, look at those files coming back on V1. So I'm going to call it like this, and see if I can do anything. No, that didn't work. Because there is Jira VZ builders, yeah. I want to see if I can hit it if I give it a host name. Just being, hopeful, but it didn't work. So cool. This came back, and this JS file came back. I don't think this is a real file though, but it doesn't hurt to try. So let's see. Let's go here, and let's see if this JS file is actually real. No, it's not. Okay, I'm gonna brute force v1 and see what it finds us. And then we're going to do another domain. BF1 is always a good one. Let's try it out. There should be a lot of stuff in there. Thanks for joining, Barunesh. See you later. Oh, damn. Look at all these domains. A lot of them seem like aren't going to, like the Redis ones, I don't think they're going to respond. But we're going to give this more, and then we're going to hit, what is it called? This is BF1, right? Yeah. Okay, let's see where this goes. I don't think any of them are going to return anything cool, but we'll see. Alright, this is the last scan I'm going to do. And then I'm going to go ahead and get a coffee before Franz joins me. Okay, next time around, thank you for that, Tom. I'll give that a try. It's a good idea. So, let me see if, I don't think Franz is already on this chat yet, is he? No, we're good. Alright, so, I am going to quickly AFK to get some coffee, just because this chat with friends is going to be a while, and I'm almost out of coffee. I have no coffee here, actually. So, I'll be right back. Give me a couple seconds. I'm going to run downstairs, get some coffee. Whoa, what happened to my chat? Holy crap. You guys are loud today. What did I miss? Okay, so it is time to bring in Mr. Franz Rosen. Okay, let's cut the music. I think Franz is with you. Yo, how's it going, man?
I'm good, how are you?
Not too bad. Let me set up my mic so the way people could also hear you. I don't think anyone could see you right now. I think I can hear you. Can you guys hear Franz okay?
Can you hear me? Hello, hello.
Alright, let me switch to you. How's it going, my friend? Well, how late is it your time?
It's 8 p.m., so it's not that late.
Oh, that's not bad. So I just get a little bit of time to spend with us.
Yeah, I thought so. Like, before this was, like, I haven't done that much of a live stream thing, so I'm, like, shitting myself in terms of, like, exposing stuff I shouldn't expose. So I kind of came to the conclusion that, like, I have stuff on my computer that I try to avoid showing, but I'll try to do it as good as possible anyway.
Well, I'll try and keep an eye on stuff so I can make sure you don't expose too much at least. But no
Yeah, no
promises.
worries.
Let me turn my camera on so it's not as awkward for you can at least see me on this camera.
Yeah, no worries. I do have.
I don't know how it works.
Oh, there you are. Wow, I see you in multiple angles now. I have you on my phone and I have you. It's funny, like you have like a pretty nice setup with a chair and stuff. I'm sitting on like a I don't know, like a shitty little chair in my daughter's room.
Well, I have to realize like this is my work office too. So when I work during the day,
Yeah,
this is like I
yeah.
spend most of my day in here. So I've gotten used to like this was like an investment of itself, dude. It was a lot of yeah. It was a good investment. Man. It was a good investment.
Yeah, I agree. This is not a good investment. No, it's her daughter. It's my daughter's room. It's a good investment. Sorry.
So let's talk about Recon. I think there's some feedback happening. Hold on one second. Tell me if you guys could hear okay now. Lagging
Yeah,
too.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I think people can hear you. I can hear you, but I think there's some lag going on right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it probably is. I see you speaking with a lag, actually.
Okay.
You see me as well? Like, is it a delay?
No, I see you perfectly fine. I think it's just when we transfer over. This would be one, yeah.
Should I disable something?
No, it's okay. I'm going to disable my webcam just so it makes it easier to stream.
Yeah. Sure.
Cool. Let's talk about Recon, man. What does Recon? Before we get into like your workflow and like all the crazy shit you find, I'm kind of used to you now.
Yeah.
But before we get into all that stuff, what does Recon mean to you? Because like Recon changes, right? When you hack on different application, Recon changes. I look at Recon different than you do, but I want to know what does Recon mean to you? Like, what does the idea of Recon mean to you?
Yeah, it's funny. Like it's a very like normal concept. Like if we talk about live events, for example, like Recon has been. You always talk about like Recon is not finding bugs, right? It's like there's a total difference between actually looking at the surface and then actually breaking stuff. I kind of like my methodology; those tend to like blur together a lot.
Right.
Mostly because I try to approach stuff while I'm doing Recon to see if they're worth like digging into more. So in terms of like when we discussed doing this live stream, I was like, how can we do this without not hacking?
It's hard, right?
Not breaking shit.
It's really hard.
But I think in terms of Recon now, it's all about like finding surface area, and it's all about finding like as you've been doing, like finding subdomains and stuff, but also like looking at the JavaScript, looking at like all kind of services that you're able to do, like look at GitHub, look at like how are they exposing data and where are they doing that, and how can you use that data to your advantage to look for more stuff, basically. So I think that's probably sums it up for me what Recon is actually. But as I said, like I tend to, when I'm approaching something, doing the Recon, I'm also trying to figure out if it's something worth to look at or if it's just something that I want to ignore and like know that it's there so I can pick it up later.
So just let's talk about that a little bit. Just because like one of the biggest things I get on the streams is like, hey, how do you know if something looks interesting to you? Like when you look at the site, you go, ooh, this looks vulnerable. You get that feeling, right? Yeah. How do you get that feeling? Like, what makes you think this is vulnerable? I know I'm putting you on the spot. It's not an easy answer. I know it's not.
No, it's not. No.
But what makes you like go, ooh, this is vulnerable?
I mean, one of the exactly. Like one of the good indicators I know that is still a really good indicator, and for Yahoo especially, it's like when stuff looks old.
Right,
it's like
absolutely.
A really good indicator that this has been there for a really long time, and there will probably be stuff here that is vulnerable to something exotic and stuff. But when it comes to other juicy things, could be. I mean, nowadays it could even be the opposite. It could be like, oh, here's a new React app that is actually like very well built, but it's talking with a bunch of APIs somewhere else, and those APIs looks untested. So it's not always about like trying to find. My daughter just comes in. Okay. All right. It's not always. I feel like this BBC guy in the news.
That's exactly what I'm thinking in my head as this happens.
Trying to like.
I'm waiting for someone to run outside the door and just grab your dog.
It's like yeah.
It's a part of the live show, man. It's all good. It happens.
Yeah, absolutely. No, what I'm saying is that it's not always about the old stuff. It could also be like the stuff that is actually new and something that is maybe like, as you've been looking at, like staging, for example, stuff that is like not supposed to be out there.
So staging and dev side is a good indicator of like, hey, this is a good place to start and focus on, right?
Yeah,
because you probably have more stuff exposed because it is a staging where they don't expect user to go across, right? Or they come across this domain. Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
What is your recon? So let's say for a target like Yahoo, and I don't mean just Yahoo itself, but a target like Yahoo where everything is in scope, right? Whether if it's their IP space, all their subdomains, all their products, all their subproducts. Yeah. What does that work? What does that recon workflow look like? Like, where do you start?
So, without like disclosing too much of like what the stuff, like details about the stuff I found for Yahoo, like we did do a lot of hacking on Yahoo just this Vegas event.
Hell yeah, we did. For those of you that missed it, $1 million in payouts is crazy in one night. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, that was a good night. So before that event, we kind of understood that there's a lot of people that have done like really good recon when it comes to like knowing all the domains, knowing all the keywords, the paths of stuff, knowing everything when it comes to like finding obscure subdomains 5 levels deep, and then trying to break those things. So we kind of understood that was how it looked like. We also know that like those, like Yahoo is in scope for everybody. Like it's a public program, right? Mm-hmm. So that also made it really hard to like let's look for subdomains. But so we took another approach. So me and Matthias was teaming up for the event, and we took a different approach. And instead of doing what we tend to do, which is like try to look at all the surface area, try to look at everything, try to go like super wide into every detail of all the subdomains, trying to break them. We thought that let's do it differently and let's deep dive in certain applications. So we rather stayed on like dub for a really long time instead of going to these obscure staging sites.
So you pick the domain first and then just focus on that one particular domain.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. And looking at the surface of dub, for example, looks very flat and without any functions. You have like entertainment, video, finance.
And it's all links to other sites.
When you start looking with a magnifying glass on it, you realize it's like a huge, complex structure of a lot of things. And we took advantage of that and kind of used that as our advantage, and found some really interesting bugs in terms of functionality-wise that we did not expect to actually find on these very regular domains like calendar or news or mail, for example. So we went the other way of like, instead of looking at everything that is out there, instead looking at the stuff. And one of the arguments on why we actually did that was that from the last time we looked at Yahoo, we kind of realized that a lot of those apps we were looking at back then had changed. Not much, not with everything, but some of the things had changed and they were new, they were updated, they added functionality. It wasn't really like visible that these functionalities were added. It was just that if you compared it to, 6 months, 8 months ago, things have changed. So that was also one of the reasons we realized that this might be a juicy area to look at.
And I think the other advantage for you, I think this wasn't something other people anticipated, was you went after the main core yahoo.com. I don't think anybody else would have looked there, dude. I think that is...
No.
So you're finding something that's in plain sight. Everyone just looks over it. It's just an index to them, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you
exactly.
and Matthias just really focused on it, and it paid out.
Yeah, we got no dupes for the whole event, so that was quite nice actually. We thought that we would, but it turned out that all the people were looking at other things that we did not look at basically at all. So, but we've been doing it differently. Like they've had a bunch of events. I remember our first one with I think it was 415 in San Francisco when they had a team event. We did it quite the opposite. Like, I think we talked about it in the live stream a bit. We touched the subject when we were at 702, but we basically were so structured. We had a Google Sheet. We were doing like all the things we thought was interesting, like stuff that you do now on the live stream. Basically everything you say, like, let's leave this alone, or let's look at this later, or stuff like that. We would always save those in a file so we could revisit them. And what we could see a lot happening was, let's say we saw a keyword, Goliath, for example. Goliath was mentioned in one place in Yahoo. And then we had no idea what Goliath meant, but looking then later, we kind of saw, oh, here's a Goliath API. Oh, it has something to do with ads. That's super interesting, because this endpoint, the other one, was not doing ads, but still mentioned Goliath. How do they connect? And then you started to, just because you had the notes, you started doing like connections between the findings that you've looked at before, but had no idea what, Goliath means.
So you're cross-referencing pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that was super structured. We also like wrote all our reports before the event. We used, the Bounty Police program to like submit everything. That's like comparing to Santiago trying to hack, we did nothing. But we still had like 72 reports, which we thought in 2 weeks was pretty good.
I mean, 72 reports is a lot of reports, dude.
Yeah, and he's like, I had 300 reports, and I've done it in a day or something.
Yeah, he was, at some point, I keep seeing his name popping up on the leaderboard, and he's just by the pool hanging out. I'm like, are you working? Do you have, like, I think he has a clone of people in the basement doing all this work for him, dude.
Yeah, there is a rumor with that, but it hasn't been either disproven or proven, I would say.
So,
who knows?
On the idea of Recon, I know that you have your own set of tools you have written for your day job. You do different stuff. You implement different things for it. So you have your own. Yeah. You're an edge case of some sort, because you develop stuff for a company that kind of helps you understand your methodology a little bit better, from what I understand. But
yeah. So to clarify, I'm not at all operational in the TextFly. So there's not a single line of code in the TextFly that I've written. Fortunately.
I was gonna say, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing. No, but so the way it works, and I kind of see it similar to other people working for similar companies, is that I tend to build a bunch of shitty tools to prove a point and to confirm that it is indeed possible to do these things. And it's not that I'm like writing a DNS resolver like Donut all by myself.
Right.
Instead, of course, I've been doing, sublister. I've been using subroot. For some reason, I got stuck on subroot and I never left. And I started doing some small modifications that I thought was very important to that tool. So it kind of make it works for me much better in terms of like getting into a pipeline of data, because like when it comes to DNS, there's a bunch of stuff that is still not, like, the tools are missing out a lot. Like, there's some tools that is getting better right now, but I did a talk about DNS hijacking, and a lot of things that I talked about was from Matthew Bryant and his research around name servers.
And that's mandatory, right?
Sorry?
Mandatory?
Yeah, mandatory. Yes,
Okay.
correct, mandatory. So when he did that research, I kind of looked at the tools that existed and like, okay, everybody's just ignoring these kind of DNS records because they look like they don't exist. Right. And what he kind of showed is that, like, serve, fail, and refused are just as interesting as the ones that is, no error, right, for example. And there are levels to this as well. Like, there is indicators you can get on a domain that it contains subdomains, for example, that I haven't really seen a tool utilize at all. So you can basically, like, let's say you have blah blah blah.example.com. It doesn't have any records, but the only thing that exists is like test.blah.blah.example.com. You can actually see on blah.blah.example.com that it has something below it. You don't know what it is, but that's just a flag to give you an indicator that you can actually go deeper on it. So it's basically saying, like, I am a directory. I have stuff below myself. So, and I've seen no tool at all that is actually flagging for that, telling you that I find no records here, but this one is telling me it has records below it.
Oh. So you wrote a tool around it.
Sorry?
So you wrote a tool around this based on what you learned from this talk.
I look at all the whole DNS package. So I'm using Subroot just as a skeleton, but then I'm like really looking at the DNS package and trying to figure out what kind of properties those subdomains actually have, and then I go from there trying to like figure out stuff. But it's mainly like, bash.
Right.
It's not, there's no magic to it at all. It's just that I got so frustrated that people were missing out on so many things that I just tried to like get something out of that. Okay. And so that is one thing. The other thing is, like, when I look at you, like you running the live stream, I'm like, okay, I should probably change my brute forcing tools. So I still use VFuzz, the old Python, which is like slow as hell. And one of the reasons I kind of use it still is that, like, you can give it a bunch of flags. So if you really configure VFuzz, you can actually get it to do probably what these new tools are doing per default, but you can actually give it like a baseline, and then it will like compare the baseline with the result, so you can like see differences in depending on status code and constant length. This is probably like standard stuff in the tools nowadays. It's getting darker here in Stockholm. You kind of notice, right?
Yeah, I'm seeing you get like darker as we speak.
Yeah, the sun is going down, right?
So you said you use tools like Sublister and Subroot for a lot of your DNS discovery stuff, right? To some extent, modified versions.
Absolutely, yes. So I've done alt DNS a lot.
Yep.
I've done mass DNS as well. I kind of, in the beginning, realized pretty quick that what alt DNS was really good for was permutation.
Yep.
Not really resolving. So I tend to, and I've seen a lot of people, and I think you've done it as well, like you use the alt DNS data and then move it over to mass DNS to actually do the resolving.
I use Tom's tool for resolving, HTTP Pro by Tom Nom Nom.
That's fine. That is.
So you use the.
That is also.
Go ahead.
That is also like looking for certain things, I would say. Like this DNS hijacking I've been doing is like looking at it more on a DNS kind of level. So you can get like indicators that this domain is like pointing to a name server that nobody is using or it doesn't exist, for example. So I tend to look at those things before I actually probe them for data. But I kind of do the same thing as Tom Nom Nom's tool, but I tend to do it on a scheduled basis. So about 3 times a day, I have a list of domains that I know resolve. So I fetch them all on, HTTP, HTTPS. I save the header, the response headers, and the response content for every domain. And then I have patterns that I look for in these files that can indicate that something is interesting, that I use like Zapier to trigger a webhook that will push it to my phone. So what that means is that if something changes on these domains and have patterns that I look for, I can get an alert pretty quick saying that you should probably have a look at this. And one really good example of this, apart from, the subdomain takeovers that I've been doing, you can see that there's no bucket, the CloudFront things. Like there are stuff now that is happening that it took 5 years for companies to realize we should probably do something about this.
Right.
So nowadays, I would say it's less subdomain takeovers, more DNS hijacking, and but there are other things that you can do with the patterns. So, for example, you can one really interesting thing, and I think you talked about it last week, was the Django error pages,
right.
And those can at some point like spit out the whole environment variables. Same with like PHP info, for example. If you got a PHP info, you probably get like the environmental variables because they are always exposed in that file. So I have some of those patterns. I'm mainly like always looking at the start page. So I'm not really like brute forcing a bunch of pages. I mainly just like save the page. And then, and what is really interesting is that at some point, maybe that domain gets deleted. I still keep the file in my list. So I have, the latest version of this page. So it was probably like 2 or 3 months ago. I added a new pattern and at the same time looked at the files that I had. And suddenly I see one from 2016 having that pattern. And in that file, there was like, the secret key for Facebook, the secret key for the company's Stripe account.
Wow.
And it was like crazy amount of keys that was disclosed just because they dumped their environmental variables. And some of these API keys still worked, even though it was like 3 years after.
Wow.
So, and they paid a bounty because I could verify that those keys actually worked. And I found it 2016, but I never looked for it. So that was just an indicator that, okay, I should probably keep doing this because I might find vulnerabilities for stuff that I don't know it's a vuln, but I will know later. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So when you were talking about, you said you have you look for these patterns, right? I used to do a stream on Mondays, and I want to know if you do something similar to this. On Mondays, we would fingerprint stuff. So by fingerprinting, I mean we'll look at what indicates this is a Jira, and if it's Jira, you throw it in a bucket. If it's Confluence, you do the same thing. You do, you see Sonar, whatever else you see, Jenkins.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what you mean by those patterns, right? And I assume that's why you save those response headers, because the response headers sometimes tells you if they're using Jenkins, Atlassian tools.
Yes. There are a bunch of headers that could make it a lot easier for you to identify what it actually is. Also, it could be that you're not really looking for. Let's say you're not really looking for what the content of the site is. You are looking for domains that uses Cloudflare, for example. And Cloudflare is exposed in the header. So suddenly you can say, please give me all the domains that has the CF header, which means that you use Cloudflare. So then you can identify these. So the response headers kind of gives you indicators on what's in between as well. It's not only about what the content of the page is.
Yeah, and then that kind of proves why going after these fingerprinting things help. Like, it just makes your life easier to know where to focus on versus like having to parse all these domains and finding something that looks interesting to you. So that kind of helps. Absolutely. Fingerprinting wasn't a waste of time for a stream because I spent a lot of hours on that. So I agree. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I think like all of these things is, and then like when it comes to like tools that I use a lot, and me and Tom Nom Nom is probably aligned on this. Like we use Xargs so much. And Xargs is basically something you can just pipe into and make like a threaded or like multi-threaded process out of a really simple bash script, for example. So you can make it do it in like 20 threads instead of doing it in one per one. So Xargs is a super valuable tool for me to make stuff go fast, and then I also have a really big machine, so with like high network I/O enabled, which costs a lot, but it's so worth it when it's when you want to do en masse like really big stuff. It helps a lot.
So you said that I want to talk about the machine part. A lot of people ask me this question. I'm sure they want to know this about you. Do you use a machine in the cloud? Like you use AWS, you use a VultureBox. Okay, and then do you do some of your fuzzing on your laptop, and then you do your like discovery on the box? How does that work?
Exactly. So I tend to, I always give the advice to people that they should use a VPN on their machine, like their physical IRL machine. One of the reasons is that like IP blocks are a mess, and you do not want to explain to your girlfriend why Netflix is down.
Right.
Really not. Like that's so. So I use Freedom, which I think is awesome by F-Secure. So that means that I can always, switch over to a new IP if I get blocked. Sorry, Freedom. But so I tend to do my like really brute forcing locally, and this machine that I use is mainly for discovery, and it's doing like 3 requests to a domain a day. It's doing the main the root URI of each domain. It doesn't do any .git files or anything. It's like really it's like a uptime server checking if their site is online, kind of. So it's very passively looking for patterns, not doing anything malicious or aggressive or anything. Sometimes I've done some research. We haven't really posted it. Me and Matthias have been working on it for probably 1.5 years, and we never really got to the point where we blogged about it. But it's kind of a rabbit hole. Some people have touched the same kind of subject, but in a different way. The James Kettle talk is similar, but not really what we have been doing. And we, in that case, we needed a real browser, getting all the requests from each site, getting the file structure of how each domain looked like. So then I used like a headless Chrome with Puppeteer, and that one I run on my cloud machine. but I didn't want to work with threads because that version of Puppeteer was so, I seriously have Chrome on like a while loop because it was crashing, every single page at one point. So I really have like while true run Chrome, and when it crashes, it just relaunches. But and I think my research project of that script took a month to run.
That's a long time.
So that's also the reason why we haven't blogged about it. So I did it once last year, and I did it another time in May. And I revisited the results of it. I forgot about doing this, and I revisited it in Vegas actually for 702. So I had some reports submitted on the event for totally other programs, just because I was like, oh, I have some findings here from May that I haven't really done anything with. And that is probably the story of my life when it comes to like, I do a lot of things at the same time. I do context switching by heart. That's like how I grew up with computers, is that you do a flash file and then you do web radio and then you go over to a forum chatting with people and then you have IRC. We grew up with being context switcher by heart. So right. That is also the way I kind of do hacking. Context switching for me is not like, this site is boring, let's go to a new one. It's more like, okay, I have this research looking for stuff across huge amount of domains, and then over here I'm actually doing like really specific things for this specific program, and over here I do these things. So I try to distribute my my efforts into multiple buckets, because that also gives an ROI which is much higher than if you just do one thing at a time.
So I think what you mean is like you have a. So I do something similar, and it's kind of hectic. Like when you find this new research, you want to maximize the value out of it. So that will be your main task, and then you have all these different small little tasks at the bottom of it, where you have to get to, but they're not being a priority, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a core thing with Recon, and I think you kind of show that also, is that you have no idea what you're looking for, man. Like, you seriously have no idea what you might find or what you're actually looking for. So when it comes to Recon, for my perspective, is that how do I know I can eliminate stuff from not being interesting? And that is the secret answer that I've been trying to look for a long time. Because there are certain things that I found. Like, seriously, one example was on an event. There was the team event 415. And we had teams from different countries. We were Team Sweden, and we had Team Australia, we had Team Belgium. We also had Team Canada. And what happened was, and I'm not kidding, like on one of the sites that was in scope for the event, if you went to /Canada, something would break and disclose the environmental variables. Like, seriously, there was like, if you went to /Canada, shit will, like, API keys will show up. So when I saw this, I was like, I didn't even know what I was looking for here. It's just that after a while, I started like searching through my burp history, trying to like identify certain things that I was looking for, and one of them was API key. And then I saw in the request that the only thing crashing on the only domain that we had in scope, the one URL that was crashing was /Canada, which was very fun when you had a Team Canada that did not find the bug or the content of it.
Also, big shout out to Team Belgium with their trolls. Inti.
Yeah.
If you're watching this, Inti, shout outs to you. There was some questions. Let me look. I've been kind of neglecting this chat. Someone asked a question about how do you recon for multiple applications, for example, for image magic vulnerabilities, since most applications require authentication and would be difficult with Google Docs. So how do you monitor for that?
I've been, like, seriously also, like, one really important fact of this is that, like, you can't automate everything. And I really don't do that. I grind a lot. Like, there's a lot of time going into actually, registering to sites, becoming a member, trying to figure out how the app works. And, like, image strategy specifically, like, if you're actually looking for that specific bug, it's all about grinding, man. Like, you can't automate. You can automate some of the parts as soon as you have found a place where you can upload files, and you can, retry that upload with multiple formats. Like, that's the part you can automate. Finding where you can upload files, I mean, let me know if you know a really good way of automating that. But seriously, like, it's so different on every instance. Sometimes, you upload a file and it's not even triggered while you're uploading it. It's triggered when you're using the file. So there was one example that a company was actually vulnerable to this. It was basically like you uploaded a file, nothing happened, but then when you wanted to export something, you got an RC because the image strategy was actually used when you rendered the content.
That's insane.
So, yeah, and I mean, seriously, like, I think Stuck has the same issue. Like, I literally have DNS hits still from, back when Tavis Ormandy went out with the image tragic thing, and you kind of uploaded a payload all over the place. Like, you seriously, there's somewhere there's an RC, and I have no idea where it is. It's on Amazon, but yeah,
they're hosting on Amazon somewhere. Yeah. Give me 1 second.
I have no idea where.
Let me see if the chat died really quickly, because my internet is like lagging really hard, so I have no clue how the stream's going. Chat, how's it going? Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I see the chat. Yeah, it looks good.
Let's see. I think we're good. No one's saying anything in the chat, so I think we're still good. I want to talk about one couple more things if you have time. I want to make sure everyone's listening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, everyone says we're all good. Thank you, guys. So you talked about figuring out how the app works, and I want to scream this as loud as I can so people understand how valuable this is. And I think you also talking about this will kind of help people understand why it's so important to learn what this application does and how it works. Like, why is that so important to you, and why do you take the time to learn all that stuff about the app?
Yeah, so also, like, I think it's important to say I'm coming from the developer's perspective. I built applications myself, and I went that kind of grinding way of like trying to figure out how to, integrate with things, or how do you build a file uploader that actually works and stuff. So when I see stuff like a file upload, for example, I think of the hard cases. And the really, like, what if I'm the developer? What am I trying to avoid? One of the things is probably that I'm trying to avoid uploading the files on the web root of the same server. That is one of the things that you should probably not do. Upload those files in the web root. So as soon as I see that, I'm kind of thinking, oh yeah, there will be something here, because this is something you should not do. Like, you should sandbox the shit out of the files that is getting uploaded. And if you're not doing that, it's clearly something we need to look more into. So, and on the contrary, like, if you try to look at the file upload, for example, and you see that they've used, S3, and you have like something called a post upload API to S3, which means that the file is not touching the system or the website that you're playing with. It's actually uploaded directly to S3. So that was also something that I blogged about. All this, I haven't blogged about it. I've only done slides and a talk about it.
Basically, what is that talk called?
I was looking at the upload policies. I think it's called policy. I don't know, something with upload policies at least.
I'm gonna look it up and just so I can link it for people to watch later. Go on. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So, and the whole idea with this concept was that when you do this upload API to S3, there's a policy that needs to be signed by the platform. And if this policy is weak, you can bypass all sorts of shit. Like, you can basically take over the sandbox. You can get the file listing of all the files in that S3 bucket. You can do all sorts of things. And even though you sandboxed it, you isolated the content, everything perfectly, but just by having that weak policy, shit can break. And we kind of showed that, like, how do you make the sandbox vulnerable, and how do you, swing the sandbox into scope again? Because they kind of think that the sandbox is isolated and out of scope, but you kind of can show them that you can actually abuse the sandbox and make it totally in scope again, because it's actually, exposing data from the users. I'm not sure if that's like covering one part of, like, trying to understand how the application works, but it's also around, getting the idea. And this is something that I still need to practice on. I'm literally not good at this at all. And whenever I hear, the show and tells on these live hacking events, right, I kind of realize that I'm not doing it right. So what I've seen a lot in these live hacking events, for example, is that people are sitting down, they understand what the app it does, and then they have like an objective. And I think Inti is a really good example of a person that goes very far to reach his goal.
Yep.
So one example was an application that had contracts. So basically, you had contracts, and you signed the contract, and it was legally binded when both people signed the contract. What he found there, which was such an amazing idea. So his approach was like, okay, you can have a document, and people will sign it digitally. What if I can make that document different for the people signing it? Which is like, it's a genius idea. Yep. And the approach of them trying to figure out, how do I make this contract look different for two different people were such a really interesting aspect of like he understood how the application works. He had an objective trying to figure out this is the way that I want to break it, and then he found a way. So that was like a really legit vulnerability that is actually like, you know, breaking the whole concept of signing a contract if the contract is different between people.
Yeah, and I think the approach for that is mostly like, what does this app do? What is it supposed to not do? And I'm gonna accomplish the not part and make it do this thing for me because I'm Inti and I can.
Absolutely. One really good advice to that is that, and I've been doing that a lot, is looking at, you know, JavaScript code, for example, HTML code, looking, or documentation, for example, looking at stuff they really try to avoid.
Right.
So one example of this is like reading the documentation about their security mitigations, for example. So they can say in the documentation that we care about security a lot. So therefore, you're not allowed to do A, B, C, D, and E. And then you have a list of ideas that, okay, I should probably find a way to do A, B, C, D, and E.
Right.
Because that's exactly what you're trying to avoid. And another thing in the JavaScript is like, when you find, sometimes you have, you know, like map files of the JavaScript, so you actually get the comments. Even though they're minifying it, you can use the map files to unpack those minified versions, get the real code.
Yep.
Those are so valuable, because when you get the comments from the developers, look for, you know, to do, or like fix me, or look for, we should probably not do this. We look for stuff like this works weird, or we're trying to prevent. You know, try to extract all the comments and look on certain patterns when it comes to like, sometimes a developer will say like, okay, we're trying to avoid this specific case. And then you look at the code and realize, okay, but I can find a bypass to this. So I would say those are really good indicators that you're looking for an objective that they are very much trying to avoid. One of the really good examples of this is like an open redirect. An open redirect for most of the companies are like useless. But when you see that a company is actually really trying to prevent an open redirect, you have to sit back and think about, why are they trying to prevent this? Sometimes you realize that they have some form of authentication that gives, you know, leaks everything if there's an open redirect. Sometimes they have a system that only allows, you know, server-side requests back to this domain. So if there's an open redirect, you basically have a full SSRF going somewhere. So there are a lot of interesting aspects on companies that is really trying to prevent open redirects. And I also use that as a indicator that, okay, they're trying to prevent this. I wonder why. Because I would say the main reason for preventing open redirects is not because of phishing, or you can send an email with this URL and people will think it's this website. It's about, you know, systems talking with each other, and an open redirect will break that shit. So that is also a really good indicator that you can find a way to utilize an open redirect if you find a bypass to it.
You talked about, so some of the question that people asked was around vuln types, but I want to rephrase that question a little bit. So when you find an interesting app, right, you know, it screams vulnerable to you, what's the first thing you do on that particular domain, subdomain, and app? So let's say that you found this subdomain, it's the only thing in scope maybe. What is the first thing you try? Do you go and look for, besides learning the application, like for your discovery part, do you right off the bat start reviewing JavaScript files, or do you start looking for other things first?
I try to interact with the app, looking at how it's posting data back to it. Like whenever you do an interaction, let's say you're registering for it, I look at the interaction it does with the website and try to see if there's a pattern with how it interacts with its backend. For example, if the backend is on a different domain, I tend to look at how does it allow this specific domain to make the request and others not. So one solution could be, you know, course headers. I try to look if those course headers are broken, or if you can move around it somehow. One example is like if you have let's say you have ... and www talks with an API, and that API basically says any domain of this specific site, any subdomain of this specific site can make this course request. This is really interesting for me because maybe they have protected www a lot, really good, but they haven't thought that suddenly this API exposes itself to all their subdomains. And this API, because it's used for www, it might have some really sensitive functionality that you might be able to use for you can chain it with another subdomain that has an XSS, but now you can make a course request from this shitty subdomain that has an XSS. You can now make a legit course request to the API and get the data that was not supposed to get leaked to that domain. So stuff like that is very, very interesting to me. I'm trying to map out like how certain software talk together with each other. So one indicator, for example, that if one page of this platform or multiple websites, for example, if one domain of those are reaching out to fetch data, or if it has internal applications or APIs that is fetching the data from this other website itself. So I would say like the opposite between course and having an internal API making request. So when I know those things, I try to see how can I use this? How can I maybe make this API talk with my web server? Can I maybe abuse the course headers to make my website talk with the API or similar things?
Okay.
And then I try to extract the content from the JavaScript files. I do a lot of when it comes to minified versions of JavaScript files, I tend to extract strings. Is really, really valuable when it comes to JavaScript files because they can be really good to, create a word list specific to this company.
Yep.
And also, property names in JavaScript is really valuable if you can find some indicators that like this specific name or property in the JavaScript does something with the API. Maybe I can extract all of those and then try to brute force something, see if something changes.
Cool. I've been trying to. So what I've started doing recently with the stream is when we find subdomains, we try to look for like Swagger files, application model files, and stuff like that.
Yes.
So I think it kind of helps to understand what this API does, and then I snatch those endpoints from the Swagger JSON, and I just throw them into a dictionary file of my own. And then when I example for Yahoo, when I hack on Yahoo, that dictionary file is what I use for Yahoo itself.
That's awesome. I think you should also try to do it like not if you have a multiple level path. Try to extract the parts of it, like split it on / and take those parts, and then create a word list out of that as well. So you don't only have the complete Swagger path. You're taking also the keywords inside of each route in that Swagger file, because then you're creating a specific company that is very curated in terms of what kind of data you might find.
Yeah, I think it's very smart, and I try to encourage people to do that. Like people ask me, "Can you share your word list with me?" I'm like, no, because this word list isn't something that I've magically found. It's just years of me doing Recon and finding API endpoints and dumping them in there. It's nothing special, but it's like it also has some internal endpoints for some companies that I can't share because I found them randomly in JS files, right?
Absolutely.
So I have a couple more questions for you, if you don't mind. I want to talk about dev background. This is something that somebody just asked earlier too. I don't have a big background in programming. I've seen me do some Bash. I do some Ruby. Really shitty way of doing Ruby. But what is do you think that? Oh, hold on. There's serious lag happening. 1 second. Let me see why it's lagging. Real quick. Let me know if the lag is getting better. I'm gonna see if I can fix this really quick. Is it lagging, guys, or is it just for one person?
Lag swag.
Security, is there a lag? Plenum, is there a lag? Okay, sound is good, just video lag. Okay, we can deal with that. So, developer background. Is there is there a need to be a developer for bug bounties?
No, not at all. Like some of the people that are some of the best are like Uber drivers. No, but seriously, like it could be coming from so many different aspects or experiences in life that I think that is kind of the interesting part with bug bounty. Also, it's not like you need a university degree and you need 5 years of pen testing before doing this. Like the whole idea with this community is that you need all these different aspects. You need a troll from Belgium. You need a Swedish guy, and you need a guy from the US that is just grinding Batman stuff. That's human. So I think that is super valuable, having all these people with all these backgrounds. But what I really think is, so we talked a bit about automation, and I think when it comes to automation, when I talk about automation, and I've seen the same thing with when Stöck did a talk with Tom Nam Nam, is that when automation is powerful is when you do it semi-automated. Like when you do something manual, but you can make something really efficient with automation combined with doing manual things. That is when stuff starts to get interesting, because if you do that, one of the reasons why you want to do this is that you don't know what you're looking for. So you can't automate the whole process. If you don't know what you're looking for, you have no idea what to automate, right? So, and those kind of things helps a lot when you can write a small, Node JavaScript file that does something for you, or you can make a headless browser do the stuff that you want it to do. And I don't think you need to do like super programming hijack things, or like I need to build a OS myself. I think what you should do is that you should have an objective. You should have, let's say you have a project of, I want to do a headless browser, and I want the headless browser to make me a screenshot and then maybe compare that screenshot with a different version from 2 weeks ago. And if there's a threshold of differences between those screenshots, give me an alert. Like if you could have that as an objective, you kind of understand the way how you would go around and like approach that problem,
right,
and try to figure out like how to solve that. So the best thing for me when I started doing programming when I was like, we had web design in school, and if you did not build your website with tables, you did not get a good grade. So we had one girl, she was building her whole website with divs, and she got a failing grade because they wanted you to build table design. But at this point, I had an objective. I had to build a tool for what I was doing in my school. And so I was going around on these forums trying to figure out, how do I build this tool? And that was the way I taught myself how to program. It was not like I want to learn how to program, but I have no idea what I want to do. It's that I want to do this. How do I do this? Like, that's the way I learn the best. And I think that's a really good approach to solve something. Like, I have no idea what to do here, but I know what I want. And when I got that thing, you will feel like invincible. Seriously, like you will feel that you can solve anything.
Yeah, that was it's funny you say that. Like, my whole thing with wanting to become a better hacker as a general was like, I was just tired of doing all these manual tasks. And I'm just like, screw this. I'm going to just throw out a bash thing together and have it do all these tools that I use every day and every target and just automate it. And that was, that was my project of getting a little bit of background in programming and also learning how to automate my tasks so I could do these things on the side while I'm looking at other things that I'm hacking on, right?
Yeah.
So it makes sense. I agree too. Like, I don't think the programming per se is something that you must have to become a good bug hunter. as long as you have a solid, you understand the foundation of web app security. I think if you have that solid foundation, then you're ahead. But it doesn't hurt to learn how to program stuff and make your own web apps because it helps you with the exploitation part, right? If you don't know how to do Linux, how are you going to look for command side injection? I mean, server side injections when you don't know how to run commands, right? So it's a big part into it.
No, I agree, and I think some of the things that I that should be like, we mainly look at web apps, right? So knowing how JavaScript works is really a good thing to know, and also I would say regular expressions is a really good thing to at least identify them. I like be able to identify them and trying to understand why they're using regular expressions. Regular expression is like a classical thing people do wrong, and those things could lead to pretty bad things. So knowing how regular expressions works, knowing how you identify that a regular expression is used somewhere is also a really good skill.
So I got to prioritize regex a little bit for me. I'm shit at regex.
But as I'm saying, like, you don't need to be an expert at regex. You just need to be able to identify when it's used, how do you abuse it, how do you look for certain things. There's actually a really cool project that I started. I had an idea of kind of do some form of thing around this, but there's a app built by Microsoft Labs called Rex, and you can run it on an OS, like a Mac OS with Mono, if you want to run like an exe file on OS X. But what it does is you give it a regex, and it will give you back results on. It will solve the regex and give you back examples of stuff that passes through it. So instead of like, there's a bunch of websites where you can give it a regex and it will give you like, this is the structure of this regex. This time you can say, give me 10 results that can pass this regular expression, and you can only use this char set, for example, and give me 10 results, and it will just give you 10 results that goes through it. So that is a really cool project, and I've been trying to integrate it with stuff to automate looking for vulnerabilities when it comes to regular expressions without looking for every single regular expression, because that tool is just so awesome.
Awesome, man. I gotta prioritize regex. There's a couple of links people putting it in the chat. So people want to learn about regex. There is some links. Thank you for that, Magno. Magno awesome. Logan just put a link out there. Cool.
Yes, there it is.
I have one more question, or two more questions. The last one is, so you have a full-time job of some sort. You also have a family. Yeah. You also do bug bounties. I've heard stories of you hacking on your phone before to balance life and work and bug bounty balance. How does that work, dude? Yeah. How much time do you spend a week hacking? How do you break up your time to make sure you spend time with family, doing your job, and also hacking and doing research?
How do I juggle? I think so. One of the ways that I approach, and this is also related to not get burnout, is that I take long breaks from hacking, like really long breaks. I take like 2 or 3 months. I would say this year, after January, like February, March, April, I did no hacking at all whatsoever. Wow. And then I came back in May, and then I paused for June and half of July and did not do at all anything. And then before 702, I started hacking again. So I haven't done that much, regular bug bounties at all this year. I've been mainly doing the live events and focusing on the scopes for those events. And one of the reasons is that you can get burned out so fast when it comes to the bug bounties, because there's no one at all will tell you, like, maybe you should, like, stop and not do this anymore. Like the companies that you submit bugs for, they will just like, give me more.
With open arms, or take
the platforms will like, give us more, or like, you spend time on our programs. And so there's nobody that is telling you to like, okay, you made it. Like, you don't do it anymore. So that is the really scary part. So I tend to do it very in intervals, very intensive in those intervals. Like when I go all in. I mean, I really focus on it. I could be like, it's almost like a mania kind of thing where you almost think around the program in a way that is like, it's really hard to disconnect from it, and it's you get so focused and you understand the bits and pieces, and you're trying to like build up the whole system yourself in the head, so you kind of understand where the weak points are and stuff. But so I would say those breaks help a lot in just getting some fresh thoughts, actually building stuff. Like one of the companies that I am actually operational in, like we build like really large commerce platforms, and I spend a lot of time there because it's so much fun. Like I get to actually build a GraphQL API and structure it and design it. And just because I've been hacking on a bunch of GraphQL APIs, I kind of understand like, this is a really good way of designing a GraphQL API, and this is a really bad way of doing it, and what are the differences, and how do I do this thing? So and that is also a way for me to enhance my skills when it comes to GraphQL. So next time I'm hacking a GraphQL, I know exactly what to do or look for, and I know exactly the pitfalls. And I try to do that on like, all this kind of, if it's an integration with a payment provider, and suddenly that payment provider has a bug bounty, I've been seriously doing integrations for the company that is building the commerce website for a PSP that has a bug bounty, getting paid by the PSP, at the same time getting an integration done for so it's just like
That's awesome.
a super win-win-win. Like we get an integration, I find bugs, the PSP gets more secure. So and that's the way, and then we have the fourth part, which is like, I can actually blog about this for Detectify and show people that like some of the parts that I find were like, this we can automate. Let's automate the shit out of this specific thing. So suddenly this service gets better. I get to talk about stuff using Detectify. I get to build stuff with Centra, and then I get to do bug bounties with my own company. So
the development process is helping you find bugs pretty much in some way, right? You're learning to code, absolutely. And then you're learning how to use GraphQL better, which helps you also find better bugs, right?
Yes. Absolutely. And the funny thing is, like, in my daily work, I use Burp a lot. Like, there's no other tool to, do. Like, Postman can screw itself. Like, I hate Postman so much to test APIs. I use Burp a lot, like, at work, testing APIs, because it's, like, the easiest and the fastest way for me to actually, test APIs.
That's
so it's like, I'm probably the one of the few persons that is actually using Burp for, developing stuff as well.
So let's do one more question, and if you're up for it, I want to kind of like do maybe 15 minutes of Recon with you after this question, and we'll call it a night, because I know.
Need to put my daughter in bed.
I was gonna say, it looks like it's getting late for you a little bit. One last question, man.
I took her room, man.
We'll make it quick. This is my last one.
Yeah.
Just give me an advice for beginners. What's your number one advice you can give to a beginner who are watching this stream, or they would see the video later on? They're just getting started in bug bounties. What is your advice?
I've used similar, like, when it comes to me, I mainly said two things. One of the first things is that you need to read a lot. You need to learn to read, but you also need to learn to read a lot of things. You have a lot of things to catch up on to get started in this, because there's a bunch of people that have been doing this for a really long time. But if you can read and you can consume and understand things that you're reading from people, doing blog posts, or, for example, P.T. Jaworski's book, if you can read that book and understand what it's all about, I think that's a really good way to start to think in the terms of doing bug bounty. And then, like, one of the biggest things, and this is, I also tell this to my daughter when she tries to learn how to ride a bike. Like, it takes time. Like, you need to invest time in this. You can't just like, oh, it didn't work the first time, so now I can't do this. Like, it's the same thing as when you started learning how to bicycle. It's the same thing when you started learn how to swim. Like, you need to put time in this. It's not something that is just like, first day, yes, it worked. It takes like a shitty amount of time to actually get somewhere. And what you can do is invest in your knowledge and invest in yourself and trying to figure out how can I get this knowledge going, and how can I reapply this knowledge to practical examples. Like, people suggest CTFs as a really good example of how to approach something, and trying to figure out how to test for a certain vulnerability. A lot of people tend to look at, there's a bunch of, damn vulnerable web app, for example. There are a bunch of experiments where it's like, it's broken all over, try to see what you can find and identify. And then the second thing is that what worked for me, and I know worked for some other people, was to focus on a specific vulnerability. It could be whatever. It could be IDORs. IDORs is a really simple thing that you can test manually. You understand the problem when it works and when it's broken. We had a big news in Sweden about our school platform, and there was a journalist that people were talking about him hacking this school platform, but he literally had to make a short little video showing what he did so people could understand that this is so easy. And he literally in the video like changed the number, and he could see other students on any other school, because there was an IDOR in the school platform that costs 1 billion kroner, which is like, I don't know, $100 million.
Wow.
And he just changed the number, and he could see whatever, student or teacher or whatever. So it kind of shows that vulnerability is like so easy to understand, that even people without technical knowledge can actually test for these things.
Yep, absolutely. I think for me, I think IDOR is also the first thing to try, and then the next one is, if you want to get better, it's just start doing XSS, CSRF, and then go up the OWASP top 10 pretty much, right?
Absolutely. And I think IDOR is like, what can happen with IDOR compared to like XSS or CSRF is that most of the time when you actually find an IDOR, it's pretty high in criticality to begin with.
Right.
Compared to an XSS could be, almost like no value at all, or a very high value, depending on what type of XSS it is. But IDOR, of course, like an IDOR on a Bitcoin website is per design, It's like you're supposed to see wallets.
Right.
But so it's all about where you find them. But in general terms, IDOR tend to be really bad, and
right.
It could also expose, you can actually modify other people's data, and that is when it turns really ugly.
Yep. I know it's late your time. Do you want to do a 10-15 minute recon thing, or do you want to do another day when you join live and we can do some hacking together? Because I don't want to keep you... if your daughter has to go to bed, that's totally okay. We can reschedule another day when you and I could hack together.
Yeah, I would love that.
Okay.
I think it's better to have me a bit structured on actual screen sharing or doing some form of collaboration kind of thing.
Absolutely, man.
That would be awesome. And then I get to put my daughter to bed also.
Definitely. I'll reach out to you after this. In a couple of days, I'll reach out, and maybe we can schedule another thing in a couple of weeks when we can do some duo hacking, man. Hey, I appreciate you joining. This was really, really cool. I think everybody in the chat is really enjoying it. Give him a thumbs up if you guys enjoyed this chat. Dude, this is awesome for joining me. I'm looking forward to hacking with you, and hopefully we'll talk soon.
Okay.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Have a good night. Cool. Well, that was Mr. Franz Rosen. Where am I? Let's go this one. That was really fun. I appreciate Franz joining me on this. I think I learned a bunch of stuff. I took a ton of notes. I don't know if you guys could see him, but I took a ton of notes. I was jotting down questions to ask him and track of all the questions that he was, the things that he was talking about and me picking his brain. So tell me what you guys think. Should we keep doing these? I have Haddix next week, and then I have Dog EG coming the week after that, and I may or may not bring Franz Rosen back again the week after this, after the two coming up, to do some hacking with him. But tell me what you guys think. Was this worth it? Was this useful? What do you guys think? So I have another 50 minutes. I'll reach out to Brandon Robbie. Should we go back to, let's see, I was using some tool right here, I think. Somebody sent out this, and we were doing, so this is where we were. I'm trying to find out what we have. So 50 minutes. I want to get off at 1, just because it's Sunday, and I got a little bit of errands to run. But I'm going to close this for another time. I want to do some more, hold on, let me open this up. I want to do some more Recon and see what we can find. And then we'll call it good at around 1 something. The books right here, there's an episode of some sort coming out about them. It's not really about the books, but they're there for me to mention them in the video that I'm making. But they're mostly all the hackers' handbooks and all of the, one of them is called Black Hat Python, Real World Bug Hunting by Jaworski. There's the Car Hackers Handbook, Web Application Security, Practical Ruby for System Admins, the Hacker Playbook, and the RFTM, read the freaking manual. So that's what we're going to do with Franz next time he comes around. We're going to both hack on something together and see what we find. That should be really fun. So let's do some more enumeration, and we'll call it a day. Let me play some music though. I also figured out why there was a lag. I think between me watching my stream, and also streaming Franz's stuff on here is what caused the lag. But now it's all better. I figured it out. So let's play some music. Jump right back into this. There's going to be an ad right here, I think. Yeah. And then, come on. Don't talk over me, ad. There we go. So, let's hit some more domains. The BF1 is usually really good, but it's not finding much. Let's see if there's a BF2, and if there isn't, we'll find another domain to hit. There's music. There we go. Let me get my chat. Good night, so see you later, dude. So it looks like BF2 has some stuff. Let's see what's on it. Let's see what we can find on here. So it's not probing much. Actually, let's do what Tom was telling me earlier, was to have the timeout. I don't know if I want to make this smaller, but I can at least do this to 60, and maybe we can do the timeout and what, 5,000 instead of 10,000. Let's see where it goes. Oh yeah, I forgot to change the scene. Sorry about that. Boom, there we go. So I hit BF2 on Yahoo with Findomain, and now I am looking at what pros. Nothing's coming up off of it, so we're gonna keep on grinding until we find something cool. Verizon Media, Yahoo, all. Then let's see what's on here. Mall's not that fun. We did Corp, we did Media. Let's do. Let's see. I want to find some API stuff. What we can do is actually, let's go here. we'll do API on Yahoo and see what domains have an API we can hit. Is the screen back on? I shared it. It should be back on, right? Yeah. So let's see what APIs we find on Yahoo really quickly. And then based on that, we'll start enumerating some other subdomains. We don't need this. Let's grab API on this one. I don't know what this one is. Let's see what this finds. How did I do it last time? I gotta automate this for next time. Oh, there we go. I gotta automate this and see where it goes. 1 second. Alright, let's see. So it's finding some stuff on Findomain. Hopefully find something cool. Let's see. So it's not finding a lot of stuff on ship, but I want to try and see what's on here real quick. Let's just do that. And while it's doing that, okay, so this doesn't work. It's not returning anything. I know this works as a fact, I just don't know. Crt.sh is just kind of weird sometimes. So let's give it one more try. These are the only ones that came up. So let's feed it to directory search, and let's do a really quick HTML JSON to see what folders and HTML files we find. And then let's see what it looks like. Oh crap! There we go. Yeah, I'll make an alias for next time. Usually I do it live, but so there's some stuff on here more than likely. We'll see if it finds something. So 443 API. I don't think we can hit that, but let's see if we can just hit API on here. So it does redirect to 443. What if we drop the HTTPS? No, it still does the same thing. Okay. Let's do another domain. Let's see. What if we have an API right here? So we'll find anything that starts with API, but not much. Oh, that's Yahoo Inc. That's why. Let's see what Yahoo.com finds. I want to find some cool API domains, subdomains that have the API on them, so we can give it to Findomain and find some other stuff on there. Let's go to Recon Data, Verizon Media, Yahoo. What word list? I literally just talked about my word list. It's something that I've created as I find more APIs or endpoints and JavaScript files and other sources, and then I put them in there. But the base of it is from Cyclist. So on GitHub, look up Cyclist. It should come up. So there is some stuff for API here. Some stuff on Corp, some stuff on Query. What else? Digital Home Service, Profile, Assistant, more corporate, more profile. Let's see ADX. Let's see what this finds on ADX. It's weird that the API goes to 443, but it's not open, so I assume there is something here. Okay, ADX has some stuff. And some of it is coming back. I know some of these were vulnerable, well, not vulnerable, but where they were leaking some data that they shouldn't have. It was, yeah, it's fixed now. It used to give us like metrics and some threading, some of the threat data. It will pull the thread and then, show it through the API. But I think it's been fixed since then. So, yeah, let's keep on going. Hey Kappa, how's it going? Of course, it's status.html. Alright, let's see what Crt.sh has. What's up, D? I don't know how to say your day, so I'm just gonna call you D. I don't have a cutoff. If I see something in so like for Yahoo, every time I find API endpoints in like a Swagger, I put it in a file, and then I run that file on Yahoo as always. But I have a base one that is just the basic stuff that I found. That's like 50,000 words that I use. It all depends like what endpoints I find. Some endpoints may not be useful for other sites, you know. Let's see what ops has, and then we'll hit another domain. So not a whole lot there. Let's see what ops finds. There's a lot of stuff on ops. I don't think we're gonna have access to it. Manhattan's a really good one. We'll hit that in a sec. I think it's done already. It's gonna be done in a sec. Okay. So it looks like images and some other ones are coming up. Let's see what it goes if we hit it. I wonder if it's gonna redirect us or if it's gonna give us something else. Alright, why isn't that working? Alright. So it goes to portal, but I wonder if... No, it always goes to portals.ops.com or .yahoo.com. I don't think we'll have access to it. Hey Vicus. So let's go ahead and look at a couple more of these. So this redirects. Yeah, it redirects either way. Let's look at stage. This one redirects too. I am going to directory brute force this just because it has the word stage. And I'm going to look at what this EA thing is. Okay, so they all redirect. So let's start with Manhattan again and see where this goes. I haven't had any problems with AdBlock, to be honest. Not sure why it would have any problems. Ooh, okay. That's a pretty good amount of subdomains. So let's do a same thing. We're going to read this file that was from Manhattan, and we're going to probe on it with 60 concurrencies. It's a lot of smart TV stuff. I don't know how I feel about those. Nothing good on there. Let's go back to Crt.sh. Gemini is a good one too. I don't think it's gonna find much, but let's find out. I should really make this. Yeah, let's do this really quickly. I'm tired of doing it. Well, let's see. What do we call this? Findomain. No. Let's just call it FD. Okay, let's do FD Gemini. Okay, so Gemini's already done. Let's finish Gemini first. And then I'm gonna make it. It's actually not really good here. I was gonna make another alias, but that would be kind of confusing. So there's a staging merchant site. So this one, I'm brute forcing. It was redirecting everything, but if you find a valid file, it looks like it doesn't redirect you. Which is good to know. So now we know not to give up on the stuff that we find. Thank you for the sub, NBK. I appreciate it. Yeah, because the reason why I use a box in the in the cloud is because I don't want to get blocked, so it helps. Ooh, I think we've seen this site before. It's weird that it doesn't require any logins or anything like that for the dashboard. Wow, okay. Somebody, you should be jamming on this. should definitely hit this up because it looks like we're doing some weird stuff. What's products on here? So it goes to Shopify. Is this hosted on Shopify? No, it's hosted on Yahoo, right? Yeah. So I think when you hit Shopify, it does something maybe. Let's see what brute force does on this. I don't think it's gonna find a whole lot, but maybe we should hit Shopify instead of the root domain. I bet you there's some stuff on the Shopify end of it. Sandbox API looks boring. Merchant is probably the same as the stage one that we're hitting, but let's see what it looks like if we hit. Typo, yeah. So it looks like the merchant site itself isn't any different than the. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's different. I wonder what this site does really. Okay, I've seen this site before. I know there isn't much on here, but what I didn't do is this. Let's try this out. And so let's let it do its thing. I want to see what these SG3 things are right here. 400. Is it 400 on other endpoints? Yeah. Okay, we'll leave it alone. Nothing fun so far. Let's go back to Crt.sh. I don't know what Y bar is, but it seems interesting. Alright, let's see what View is. It has its own API. So, we're going to do another, we're going to call it FD. Okay. Let's switch these out. Ooh, Jenkins. Does that work though? Let's find out. I don't expect that to work. Let's probe it. Let's see how it works. If that Jenkins works, I'm gonna be amazed. It's not up. Okay, well at least we have an API here we can hit. Also looks like there's some Shopify stuff we found. So let's do directory search on this. And then while this does its thing, we're going to hit the Shopify site. So it said go to dashboard. That's something we already hit. There's connect and done. So dashboard goes to authenticate. This is ooh, go to admin page. So this is this an admin site? I'm not sure. What's landing? Okay, and what's home? So home is this. But it looks like this is also the admin site. Let's see what we find in here. Okay, nothing in here. Let's see. I'm just gonna open. Oh, this is the app.js. Maybe this one is what we want. Nope. Chat, you being quiet. What's going on? You just focus on hacking this app? Is that what's happening? There isn't anything for a post or a get or. Okay, let's close this out too then. What's home.js? A lot of these files they seem to be very small. Are you guys all crossing your fingers in hopes of us finding something on here? I wonder if this will have a. Let's see if it hits any APIs when we. So I'm gonna go to Shopify and then go to dashboard and then see what it picks up. I'm using this because I don't have burp, but I want to see where it hits any APIs if it does. So it looks like the API it's hitting something, right? So this is what API is. And it hasn't been picked up here, so what happens if we hit 401s or 404s? Okay, that's a good sign. So we have the API. We know where the API is going, right? And then we know it's undefined, which I don't know why. Does that make a difference what we give it? It does. So if I give it a shop ID, is that going to go away? Or is shop ID like this? Because it says shop ID is empty. Okay, let's keep going. Either way, yeah, it's about to happen. No, I'm not looking for a bug. I'm just trying to make sense of this API. I'm not going to actually pull any data from it, but I want to understand how this works. I'm just using their app the way it's designed. I'm not trying to find an IDOR or anything, but I think it's going to happen if we keep playing with it. What I'm trying to understand is how does this API work, especially because it looks like we're unauthenticated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to... Oh, okay, a Shopify test. I'm going to hit a couple more URLs, like this one. So they're all going under undefined, but something is being weird. Let's see what happens when we go to payment. So when we hit payment, let's view source so it doesn't redirect us, hopefully. There we go. So this is what it looks like when you hit it. And typically it would redirect us. But I really want to see what it hits when you hit this endpoint. So this is hitting payment. This is the payments JS file. These are the URLs that we see for push, and if we see Shopify in here somewhere. So there's payment window, done onboarding. So it looks like it let us onboard potentially, but we're still not logged in. Let's leave it alone. Let's see what promotions does. Let's see. So we go to promotions, it brings us to this. Is there any... Nope, nothing big here. See, when we hit this, it says shop ID failed, so I gotta see why. Let's directly brute force on API before we hit anything else, because there's API / report / undefined / the endpoint. So I'm trying to stay away from using tools so you guys understand why, things like JS parser and linked finder or whatever are useful. So I'm trying to stay away from even using burp. So I'm very well aware of all those different tools. I'm just trying to not use any of them. But if you have any Recon tools you want me to try out, please tell me. I would love to look at them. So right now we're brute forcing right here. And then next we're going to brute force right here. Maybe right here actually. In the meanwhile, I'm gonna go and see what is Shopify test. Oh, okay. Alright. That was unexpected. Let's keep looking. This seems really interesting. I want to know what gets pushed. So let's see if there's any other Shopify. So I assume that every API that they have in here is going to be rooted into Shopify like this. This is a next.js page. The server pre-renders content and the browser will fetch updates and generate blah blah blah. This may be the cause why you see the real page flash and then see login because of that. Yeah, that's why I'm trying to abuse it and see if I can access any endpoints that are accessible as on auth, but I'm trying to fish for them like this. So there's an API called merchant. We haven't seen this one. Everything else we have found has been under report. So let's see what this gives us when we hit it. I think my computer is completely frozen. There we go. So they have an API on their merchants, but it gives you a 404. So it looks like you need to put a shop ID. So it goes merchant, shop ID, advertiser funds. This is kind of risky to do, but I'm going to give it one try and see if it works. So shop ID is being, this is a shop ID here. We have to find a way of enumerating this because it looks like, where'd it go? This one? No, this one? Maybe? Yeah. So it's expecting a shop ID between these. Yeah, that's a good idea. We can look at, so let's see if there is any references of this on GitHub. There is. Nothing with the shop ID. This is just me here. Doesn't really help. Well, the only thing on GitHub is our own Recon data. Let's just Google for it. Yeah, I don't think we're going to find... Oh, what's this? Is this, nope. It says it exists, but it's not loading it. So I'll leave it alone. Let's go back to the API thing, because I wonder if I could do, so it was merchant, and then we'll just give it a value of 1 and see if it finds extra endpoints. Because I assume if something is available, then it would give us an error for shop ID not found, right? Because, yeah, so if it's, I put an X right here, if it was available, then it would give us an error. So let's hope it picks up something. Merchant, yeah, this is what we want. Cool. Hopefully we'll find something. If not, I'm going to go to Cyclist API. I don't know if it's actually Shopify. If you want to give me a Shopify store that belongs to you or someone you know that you have permission to use, we can try it. But what I want to do is I want to try this. There's got to be a bigger file. Let's see. API seen in wild. Well, what I'm going to do is I am going to pull the raw file for this. So I'm going to put this in my raw file. And we're going to rename it to just api.txt. So it has a bunch of these different API names. What I'm going to do now is I am going to feed this to directory search. I'm going to tell it to use the api.txt file with 200 threads. Extension should be, let's do JSON since it's a API. And then we're going to give it this. And we're going to see what it finds. Wait. Let's go back. Yeah, but the problem is I don't have a shop ID. I don't have a Shopify store right now available to me, unfortunately. But perhaps this is actually built up on Shopify for sure. So let's give it a couple of minutes and see where it goes. Okay, nothing on the API side of it. Let's do the report one. I think there was report or reports maybe. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Is there a Shopify reference in here? No. This is Shopify Home. We don't need it. We don't need it. Okay. I want to know. Oh, this is the. What is this file? Oh, okay. So, not a whole lot of interesting stuff. Payment 2, I don't know what that is. Let's see. Because I saw payments and then I saw, oh, payment 2 goes to, okay, sends us back out to authenticate. Let's keep looking. There's a lot of other stuff right here. Gemini auth. So API merchant. Interesting. Let's try this again. I know it doesn't make sense, but I'm hoping something is going to eventually work. So Shopify, API merchant, and give it some random value. Yeah, Shop ID says it's still empty. Okay, let's go to Shopify again. You must not attempt to gain access to interact with. Yeah, I'm not going to interact with a shop that I don't own. I'm just giving it a random value to see if it returns any available endpoints. What I'm giving it is far too short for a shop ID on Shopify, so it shouldn't work. But what it will do for me is give me endpoints that are available. So to be clear, those Shopify shops that I'm hitting are not actually valid IDs. They're actual just fake numbers. Because again, if I hit the API properly, it tells you what endpoints exist and what they doesn't exist. But I'm going to move away from this just because it doesn't look like it's finding anything fun. I want to hit one more thing before we head out. This website. Let's go home. Let's go to campaign. There was another endpoint named products. So again, if we put any number here, it will return the API if it exists. If you give it invalid, it gives you 404. So let's hit this one. I'm going to directory search this completely. And I'm also going to do the same thing as the APIs that we had and see what we find on it. Let's see if it finds any other API endpoints. So it looks like there is so API products returned 400. What happened to the music? There we go. So the only thing I found was products. So if we do this, it gives you 400 apparently. Let's see. No, it still works. Alright, let's leave this alone. That was fun looking at it. I don't want to poke it too much and accidentally find something, so let's move on. What is any of this? I really want to get Amass to work. I'm going to work on Amass while I'm not on a stream and get it to work for next time. But also, it looks like we found another endpoint that exists. 2 more endpoints. Maybe not this one. We found count and collections. So what I would do right now, if I was testing this, I would probably go and make a Shopify account and see if that would work. Ooh, that's a lot of domains. Let's see how many of them are going to actually work. Okay. Wow, a good number of them. Not bad. But what do they really serve if you hit them? Okay, interesting. Let's do directory search on this. Whoops. Alright, let's see how this goes. Partner ads. Alright, I don't think this API thing is going to go anywhere. Let's cancel and prioritize this. Oops. Hey man, it's all practice is all you gotta do. Kappa. Just gotta sit down and do the same thing. I'm using all these tools that I use are open source. They're all on GitHub. You can use them too. But just try and make if you learn this methodology, don't rely on only how I use it. Put your own twist to it. Because if you're looking at the same stuff as I am, you're not gonna find a whole lot. Because I'm sure a ton of other people are using the same thing. Alright, so it looks like a CVS is coming 403, which is kind of strange. CVS with caps. Wow, interesting. Okay. We definitely got to look into what this is. Wow, very interesting. I didn't expect that. Okay. Gotta go. I've learned heaps. Looking forward to the next one. I'll be on Tuesday. I'll see you on Tuesday, Dave, if you're around. Thank you for joining today. This is almost done. We're gonna hit CVS in a sec. Oh, this is a P test. Maybe this is a pen test. Or maybe it's a partner test? What's this partner adds 1? So all of them give the same similar... Oh, this one doesn't give you a 404. Is there a robots.txt? It is, okay. Is there a robots.txt here? Okay. Oh, schema. What is that? So it redirects to another domain on GQ1. But we can't hit GQ1, which is a bummer. So it looks like this may be something interesting to look at. So it redirects if I hit schema. So what I'm going to do is... let's do the CSV one. I'm really interested to see what that is. Let's see what it finds. The reason why I think it's interesting is because, first of all, CVS is a store, so I wonder if they're a customer on this. And the other thing is, like, 3 different things came out as 403, so I want to see what it finds. But I also want to find what's on schema, so let's do it all. Oh, I wrote CSV. Ooh, good call. Thank you. Thank you, Kappa. I appreciate it. Thank you, FX. That would have been a weird rabbit hole to go through and not find anything. Also, let's see what's on GitHub for YSM. GitHub. Whoa, okay. Come on now, GitHub. GitHub.com. There we go. Let's just see what comes up for ysm.yahoo.com. 3K worth of code. Ooh, some JS files, some... Okay, so this is not working. Let's see all the recent code that they've pushed. Is this a... Okay, so blacklist. Oh, who cares about these ones? Let's keep going. Partner So it looks like it's still going. Pretty strong. What do you mean, how do they have access and we don't? That could be someone, these could be old, or it could be someone that works there, or is a developer for them, contractor, who knows. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave this to be done and then call it a day. Unless we magically we find something really cool. Let's close these out. Let's go through these one more time. Okay, let's do one more on FD before we call it good. So I think FD was a good choice. I'm gonna start using FD regularly. It's a small list. I don't think any of these are going to resolve anyways. Alright, I think that's it. Alright, let's see what this is. One more. I know you could say last one, but one last one, because I want these to finish before I get off. Wow, nothing on here either. It's getting tough, isn't it? I'm sure I'm missing a heap of like subdomains. Yeah, I'm leaving in the next 10 minutes, I want to say. I've been on since 10. I gotta go get some food. I haven't had any breakfast, lunch, nothing yet. Alright, one last one. This is gonna be a good one. I can already tell. So it looks like schema from this one. So this is the same thing as the last one, pretty much. It redirects to the same thing. 2002, but we have no access to this one. Kind of lame. But it looks like there's a lot of stuff on here. Like dev one right here. Let's see what this looks like. Opus dev. Oh, we've seen this one in the last stream. Goes to the oath octa, I think. Yep. Not gonna bother with it. These two are done. I think I'm gonna call it a day. This was a very fun, very fun day. I really appreciate friends joining me. I'm gonna call it a day. My schedule is live on my stream. If you're new to the stream, here are all the links that I have. My schedule's right here. I'm going to be on Tuesday where we can actually exploit stuff live on Hack the Box, Hacker 101, and Bug Bounty Notes. So if you want to learn about exploitation and how I do it and how I look for bugs, check that out on Tuesday. And then on Thursday, I'm doing a show with Stoke on YouTube. Go to bountythursdays.com and it will take you there. Let me just open it up really quickly. Go to bountythursdays.com. Take you here. Give it a sub, give it a like. Some of our old videos are up right here if you want to check them out. And also you can, follow me on other social media. There's a Discord channel for all the streams that I do. And you can also donate. We don't have to. And you can also go use a $50 free DigitalOcean, $50 if you click on this link. But yeah, make sure you join Discord. I'll be on there with a couple other people that help out. I appreciate everybody joining. Thank you everyone for that sub today. I really appreciate it. I will see you all on Tuesday. See you all.